Ooh, the most above average podcast in the galaxy.
Turn the light off, like your memory
Before we start today's podcast, I wanted to take a moment to say thank you. The most above average podcast in the galaxy is not sponsored by anyone. Everything that you see and hear is paid for directly by us. We do, however, have affiliate links, and the money that comes in from those affiliates does help pay for us to have more hosting platforms, better equipment so you can hear us better, so you can see us better. The money that comes in from that is just icing on the cake. We do this out of the pure love of just chit-chatting with each other and bringing on guests. If you would like for the show to continue, we ask you to support the ones that support us. Again, all the links are in the bio. And thank you, and we hope you enjoy. Boom. Welcome back. It has been, oh my God. You know, before we started this, I probably should have looked. When was the last episode we did?
Give me 1 second. I'll look right now while you're chatting.
I'm going to take a guesstimation. Has it been, it hasn't been a full year, has it?
No, I think it's close, but not a full year.
Okay. Because I was trying to think, I was like, well, it must be somewhere around 10, 11 months.
Let's see.
Because we recorded 2 episodes that I never posted.
Well, so our last one on Spotify is September 14th of 23. I've been gone for a little bit.
We've been gone for a while. We might not even have to post those other ones because both of those episodes were like, hey, we've been gone for a while. We're back.
Yeah. I don't want to hold off on those ones.
That was a lie. But what is not a lie is the dramatically improved audio quality that you are hearing. So thank you, Josh, for splurging and getting a nice little setup. Now I can hear you clearly.
Wonderful.
So, if you're a longtime listener, you already know that this is the most above average podcast in the galaxy. Normally, I start with a story, but I'm going to save it because we're coming back, and the story that I have is a continuation. I'm going to start it with a question. Now, we've been known to ask some thought-provoking questions. Some good, some bad. But do you remember when we had our little debate about the best fast food things, like with the chicken nuggets and the hamburgers and the fries and things like that?
I sure do.
So, because I drive all the time, I get a lot of time to talk to myself and run different scenarios and whatnot. And I thought about when we were announcing that we were bringing the podcast back, what would be a modern day equivalent of that? And I thought of it. It's going to be controversial, so I need you to be ready for it.
Okay. I'm ready.
Are you a fan of sandwiches?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the number one cheese to put on a sandwich?
Pepper jack.
What? Get the fuck out of here. Pepper jack is not the number one cheese.
For me, it is.
Okay.
That's all that matters. So.
Okay. Personal preference aside, I was thinking like mass audience, like across the board, when you go to a sandwich shop, what is the number one cheese that you see?
Cheddar.
See, and I was torn between cheddar or provolone.
Okay.
It's definitely not fucking pepper jack.
It's pepper jack, bro.
It's not pepper.
We should do a poll.
We will do a poll.
We'll do a little
It's not
Instagram
pepper.
poll for everyone. It's fucking pepper jack.
You know what? I'm gonna go to Togo's and I'm gonna ask them what cheese do they sell the most, and then I'll report back.
Okay.
Because it's for science, so I got to do it.
And you'll get a sandwich too.
Well, I gotta justify it. It's a business expense.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, provolone beats pepper jack all day.
Okay, come on. That's a little much, bud. Pepper jack's the
Honestly,
way
I
to
think
go.
if I had my pick, Colby. Colby's always my jam.
It's a good choice.
Yeah. Because it's
I'm
it's the
always pepper
non-racist
jack.
cheese. It's got all of them.
You're not wrong.
You know, maybe instead of Kanye selling swatch sticker shirts, he could be selling cheese.
Maybe.
It's
Oh,
such an intriguing thing because it's made so many people so upset.
Well, it's because everyone has feelings these days. They get hurt very easily.
But I always wonder, are people upset because someone else is upset, or is it they're upset because they don't understand it? And I say that they don't understand it because if you know history, which you know none of these people do, that's why they're upset, that symbol did not start from anti-Jewish. It's not an anti-Jewish movement. That's not what that symbol started as. No. Just like the little tiny mustache. Charlie Chaplin wasn't like, kill the Jews. He was just over there making silent shit.
No, it's actually the sun symbol. And many cultures had that exact same symbol and different variations of it.
God, I can't believe it.
I know.
So, anyway, Kanye's selling weird shirts. Oh, apparently his wife is divorcing him.
Is it because he made her walk naked on the red carpet?
That's such a bizarre thing because I feel like I can justify a lot of things and I can make the argument for things. I try to be open-minded about it. But she came out completely naked in that sheer dress and I just didn't understand it. I'm like, don't get me wrong, like, cool, nice tits, but what are we doing here?
I didn't watch any of that stuff.
I don't watch it either. Just people send me just
Even
the
the
most
Super Bowl, I
bizarre
didn't watch any
stuff.
of
They're
that.
like, "Hey, did you see this?" And I'm like, "No." But then the same people send me equally as bizarre stuff. They're like, "Hey, this 21-year-old kid got stabbed in the neck by a bull from bull riding. Did you see that?" So I'm like, "You just showed me Kanye's naked wife. Now you're showing me a kid almost dying. Can we stay the course? Pick one."
There's definitely a spectrum of things there.
Yeah. So, we're back. It feels good. But apparently we've been gone a little bit longer than we thought. Good news. Still handsome. No complaints. But we took a break because you took a... Can we call it a corporate job? It was kind of a corporate job.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you ended up with a real job, and I want to say it put a damper, but it definitely put some restrictions on our recording availability. And that was the original reason why we took a little bit of a hiatus. And now you said, I'm going to stick it to the man. I'm going to go do my own thing. So here you are, selling swatch sticker shirts for Kanye.
Duh.
No.
I mean, that's
That's
my
not what
side
we did.
hustle.
Okay. Maybe your side hustle can be selling sheer dresses to other people's wives.
Yeah. Be careful what you say. I am, of lighter skin, a bald head, and tattooed heavily on my head. People might get the wrong idea, okay?
No, you're not white. You're just pigment challenged.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's the lighting in your house.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the terrible lighting. Don't worry about it.
But give me a background. What has been going on in the world of Josh?
Well, as I stated, for those that are just listening, got lots of more ink done, so I'm very pumped on that. My whole dome piece is tattooed now. pretty cool there. Looks good. If you watch the videos, you'll see him. And then, job kind of switched up a little bit. Was working at a gym that was bought out by some corporation, and they turned it into shit. So I jumped ship from that one, and kind of doing my own private training at a local gym up here, called Limitless Fitness. Pretty awesome, actually. It's a cool name. It's very reminiscent of like Untamed 1.0. Okay. So it has it's pretty much the like people there. They're lifting oriented. They want to get stronger. They want to get better at what they're doing. And it just has that kind of community together vibe. Like everyone's there to do the same thing and challenge themselves. And then the owners are awesome. Matt and Courtney own the gym. Pretty great people. Matt is a giant. He is, I think he said he's 6'3", like almost 300 pounds or something like that.
Oh, that's a big dude.
All tatted up. And that's actually when I first met him. I had some of my head done, and then my other Nordic tattoos and stuff like that. And he has his whole left leg done with all the Norse gods. And then he has some like Norse fitness banners on the wall, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna be best friends. And ever since then, I've been getting along. Was training there for a little bit, just to work out there, so I didn't, work out at the place I worked. And then as things kind of progressed, I was speaking with them about potentially coming over there. And then as things kind of just started to go south and a little sour at the place I was at, I decided to make that move and kind of work for myself. So gonna give that a run, see how that goes.
It's pretty liberating. It's stressful nice right for sure, but it's liberating.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm good at what I do, so I think I'll be all right.
Yeah. You got passion for it. So someone invited me to do their podcast the other day, and they were asking, their primary focus was on personal training, which isn't what I normally do. I do a different kind of thing. And he was asking, what is it? What advice would you give to someone who wants to do what it is that you do? And it was real simple. It was like, just fall in love with it. Mm-hmm. If you fall in love with whatever it is that you are doing, whether it's personal training or the coaching, remotely or whatever it is, just love it. Because then it's not going to be daunting. There's people that truly love to be there in the gym, helping people one-on-one. And I can see the love for it. I can see the passion. And I'm like, oh man, that guy, he's never going to work a day in his life. He's just going to love every bit of this adventure. And that's the goal, man, is just to be in love with what you do.
Yeah. I mean, and that's definitely what I got into, even just working out in general, training people. And I mean, if I had other sources of income that sustained me, I would train people for free. It's just what I love to do.
It sounds like OnlyFans is coming up.
Woo, man. So funny story about that. Not that I would do OnlyFans, but I've always thought about making a joke Instagram where it's just me in leggings. Just my butt. Okay? And then when people comment on them, I make fun of them ruthlessly. And then say that they're looking at a dude's butt. I just think that'd be so funny. Like you get a DM like 10 minutes after your comment, and it's just a hairy man.
I'm just sitting there thinking about like the sales funnel aspect of it. I'm like, you post a picture in leggings, someone's like, "Oh my god, that's so hot," and then you respond or have the auto AI bots respond and be like, "If you want to see more, check out my spicy link." They go, they pay. Then it's you, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
Oh my gosh!
Can't get your money back now. That's my $3.50.
Oh, that'd be so fucked up. That'd be funny.
I support this.
I think it'd be hilarious.
Oh man, that would be way worse than getting rickrolled.
Just a bearded, hairy-chested man, just like. Thumbs up in your DM.
Check out my Lulus.
Oh man.
Gay.
But enough about me. Okay, what have you been doing?
Man, I've been on an adventure and then some. So, let's see here. We're pushing on. Well, okay. So, we recorded this and then never put out this episode, so no one knows this. But in February of last year, I got married. But I went through this whole fertility. I don't even want to call it an adventure. I think a saga is probably the better term for it. So, long story short, I'd been trying for years. No luck. And, you know, if you're going to fail at something, hey, might as well have fun with it. So, we go in, go do all the testing and whatnot, and the semen analysis came back at complete zero. I didn't even know that was a thing. But the guy looked at the computer, and he looked at me, and he goes, there's nothing there. And I'm like, oh, okay, he's waiting for it to load. And he goes, no, like, there's literally nothing there. It's just zero. And, you know, your heart starts really racing because now you're like, oh shit, like, what do you do when it's complete zero? You know, being low is one thing, you know, that's relatively straightforward, normal fertility protocol, blah, blah, blah. But to go from complete zero, you know, you start really thinking about, like, what are viable options, and then is it sustainable? So when you do that kind of testing, they don't look at just the number of sperm. They look at the number of active sperm, the shape of them. Is the actual sperm healthy? Is it normal shape, normal size, stuff like that? What's the movement, the modality? Are they active? Are they live? Because you could have a bunch of sperm, but them just not do anything, and then you end up with lazy sperm, and then the chances of getting conception is really, really low too. So go through this whole process, meet with a bunch of different specialists, and just keep getting the run around. And so we finally just pull the trigger and say, okay, we're going to go talk to this specialist down there in Sacramento. And I met with this lady, and it was an experience, because when I met this lady, I already, you know, with what I do, my level of knowledge is pretty out there. And so I already had an idea of what I wanted to do and what I thought would be an appropriate medical protocol for something like this. And she threw me for a loop because she didn't know half the things that I was asking about. And I thought that was really bizarre. I'm like, you're a specialist. That's literally on your business card, is that you are the male fertility specialist. And how do you not know what these very simple things are? And so I'm sitting there and I'm a little frustrated. And she goes, okay, you know, we need to do a physical exam. And I'm like, okay. So she stands up and walks out the door. So I think that our consultation's over, and that we're going to, schedule another appointment, and we're going to go downstairs and talk to the office. So we go into this other room, and all of a sudden she closes the door behind us. That's me, my wife, and now the doctor. And I'm like, oh, we're in this room. Oh, okay. And so she sits in one of those little swivel doctor chairs, puts on a glove, and just goes, drop your pants. I'm not ready for this. And I look at my wife, and I'm like, she told me to take my clothes off. And she goes, drop them. I'm like all the way? She's like, yeah, and puts on the glove and does the little snap thing on her wrist and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I took a shower. So then she does the little cupping, if you will. And I shit you not, I've never been more, I don't know if I would say that I was excited, but I think more proud. So she stops groping me and slides her little wheelie chair back and goes, wow. Which is not what I was expecting for a doctor to say. And she goes, you have amazing testicular volume. Oh, well, thank you. Tell your friends. So then she opens up the door. Huh? So she opens up the door, and we go back to her office. And we're walking back. This is like 8 feet on the other side of the hallway. And I tell my wife, I'm like, yeah, big balls. What's up, girl? So then she proceeds to tell us that testicular volume didn't mean that you have large balls, but when people come in there with steroid abuse and things like that for a number of years, the actual testicle will shrivel kind of like a grape, and there's no buoyancy to it. But apparently, your boy has plump testicles. And so I left there on like cloud nine. I was like, yeah, I got this testicular volume, killing it. Fast forward. So she writes this protocol for high dose HCG and Clomid. And I just feel like liquid death. I mean, I've definitely felt worse as far as like the emotional side of coming off of testosterone before, but this was up there for sure. I definitely felt like shit, had no energy. The suicidal thoughts didn't come into play, but you definitely felt in the gutter. And so the blood work showed it was really interesting because my testosterone, when I started, I was on testosterone replacement. And so I titrated down, started the Clomid with the HCG, how she wrote. And I told my wife, I was like, I will do what this lady says, even though I don't agree with it. So my testosterone went from 1200. I'm sorry, that's not true. It was 1400. It was 1400 on my blood test. And then it dropped down to 380 in 4 weeks. And then an additional 4 weeks after that, it dropped down to I think it was 178. And so,
Damn.
That's a big drop. So just, this impending doom feeling just was overwhelming. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I feel like shit. I have no energy. I have zero sex drive. Like, the thought of sex was just, it did not even cross my brain. I was like, I'd really go for some pancakes right about now. That sounds cool. And so I was like, you know what? I'm taking over. I'm dropping the Clomid. So I dropped the Clomid because when you already have suppressed hormones and you take clomiphene, this is what the actual drug is called, it doesn't allow for FSH to actually really come back. It doesn't let your SHBG elevate. It constantly pulls everything down. So if you already have suppressed levels, it just compounds it and makes it worse. And so I dropped that, kept the HCG how she wrote it, which is already a megadose. And within a couple of days, I just felt tremendously better. My weight started to go back up because I started the protocol at like 272 pounds, dropped down to, I want to say it dropped down all the way to 240. And
Damn.
it sucked. And then all of a sudden I started boom, 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 boom. The weight started coming back up. I actually had appetite. The thing went back up to like mid 260s. And so we did this, and then I did the semen analysis again. The semen analysis came back at 5 million when I took over, and I did it my way. And we're like, oh, this is huge. This is huge news. Is not enough to freeze sperm, and it's not enough. Well, technically you could, but it wasn't recommended. And it's not enough to do like IUI and things like that. So we figured, okay, let's keep rolling with it another 2 months, and then we will freeze the sperm in January, and we'll do that process. Well, we didn't have to, because on Christmas Day, we found out that the wife was pregnant. So we ended up with a natural conception.
What?
Which, yeah. So that was super, super wild. And
I'm just finding this out too. What the hell, man?
Hey, surprise, Uncle Josh.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Also, the baby doesn't like pepper jack. He thinks that's bullshit too.
Well, we'll teach him something, all right? Uncle Josh will come through.
So I think we're going to find out what's today. As the recording, I think I've got one more week until we go in for the second sonogram appointment. And allegedly, we'll see, they think they're going to be able to determine what the gender is. So that'd be cool to know.
Should I jinx you and give my thoughts?
So I think my wife, my mother, and my grandmother all think that it's a boy. I had a nice vision mushroom induced, and it was very, very clear in that vision that it was a girl. So I'm sticking to my guns on that.
That's what I'm thinking. I think it's going to be a girl.
Which, either way, for me, I don't care as long as it's healthy. We're cool.
Yeah.
But so that's what's been going on with that.
I mean, I don't know why you're waiting until we come back to our podcast to tell me. I thought we were friends.
We are friends, but I thought we were going to do this earlier.
That's fair. That's fair.
So yeah, so that's
really
been going on
exciting,
with that.
man.
And then
I'm
I
happy
feel
for you
bad
guys.
because the wife's got really, really aggressive morning sickness. And it sucks because you're watching someone suffer and you want to help them, but there's literally nothing that you can do. It's not like you can be like, oh, you don't feel good, let me give you X, Y, and Z. You know, it's just like, it feels like shit. She's got to throw up. She can't keep food down. And then her smell and taste buds are all over the place. So then you're like, hey, what about this? She's like, oh, that sounds appealing. And then takes one bite and she's like, that's fucking gross. And I'm like, I'm trying.
Any weird cravings yet that she's stuck to?
No, not really. Which I was expecting something, but nothing. I think more than anything right now, it's more just a blessing that she's able to keep a good chunk of food down.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's awesome, man. That's way cooler than what I was doing.
it's different.
I think it's cooler, but you know, eventually when I have kids, I'm definitely different than most dudes. I want a daughter first. So
I honestly would be thrilled. I'm hoping that this kid is a girl because we already have one, and I really enjoy being girl dad. It's it's different. It's I I always joke around. I'm like, I don't want a boy because boys are physically destructive and girls are just emotionally destructive. I can deal with the emotional meltdown of, oh, the boy said something mean, then replacing a dinette table.
that's fair. I think for me it's just with my sister having Brinley as like the first kid of our siblings having them, and I was around her quite a bit and like helped my sister out with her and stuff, and just being uncle and just made me kind of partial to having a girl first because I've seen her grow up. She's 12 or 13 now. It's ridiculous. I feel old.
Oh man, damn, time
Yeah.
flies.
It does, dude. It's wild, but it's been awesome.
Yeah, it's weird being an adult.
What is that? I haven't figured it out yet.
When I was a kid, I always looked at adults. I'm like, oh, like, you must feel like a certain way when you're an adult. I don't feel any different. I just notice that I have more hair on my face, less on my head, and more bills. I still feel the same. Like, I feel like the same dork that I was when I was just a teenager.
That whole more hair on your face than less on your head thing, I wish my body would figure it out because my hair keeps coming back. It won't go away. So the beard gets better, the hair keeps coming back.
What are you gonna do? That's just part of how it goes.
Well, and I tattooed it thinking it would damage the hair. Didn't listen.
Nope, it stimulated it.
Yeah, every 3 days I'm shaving this bad boy.
Well, I got those pinup girls on my forearms, and when I stopped shaving all my body hair all the time because I just got annoyed with being this bald bodybuilder all the time. Now I look down, I'm like, damn, these girls are hairy.
That's one thing about the bodybuilding stuff. Like I'll trim my arm hair down and like the chest and stomach hair once in a while when it grows out a lot, but I couldn't shave my body all the time. There's no way.
When I was a gigantic bodybuilder and that's all I did, it was easy to maintain it. It's when you let it get out of control, then you're constantly playing catch up.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad because like I would just do like an upper and a lower body day, like in the shower. I'd be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do my upper body, and then the next day I do a lower body and just rotate it. So then I was always aerodynamic.
Well, why do you need to be aerodynamic?
Because I got shit to do.
You're not more aerodynamic for when you fight? Oh.
So, speaking of bodybuilding related stuff, you have made a very, very impressive transition from the competitive powerlifting, competitive strongman training, and you've done a lot of just pure hypertrophy work. And the level of changes in your physique from when you did your super crazy silver dollar deadlift into what you look like now is a completely different person. And it's fascinating to watch.
It's interesting you say that because it's hard for me to see it. I think I'm pretty, normal. Now, I will say I'm definitely seeing some changes, especially on the shoulders capping. My chest is kind of getting better. I'm focusing more incline, stuff like that to try to build up the upper shelf area. But I mean, you're seeing it differently because for the listeners, we'll share progress stuff with Eric because he has an eye for it, and I don't know what the hell I'm looking at or how to even pose. So it's funny, and I get a laugh out of it. But yeah, a lot of it is I'm just kind of winging it. I'm just trying to use my knowledge of just training in general from a strength background into hypertrophy and bodybuilding-esque, but trying to mold the two as best I can so I can still scratch that itch of lifting heavy stuff. It's been interesting. Been enjoying it. Obviously, we like seeing changes in our bodies when we put the effort into it. But yeah, it's definitely wild to see the differences. I just don't see them as often as like someone else seeing them. Like when I send you progress stuff and whatnot. It's a little different for me because I see myself every day. So,
yeah, when you see yourself all the time, it's always tricky. That's why I always tell people, I'm like, look, even if you're not prepping for anything, it's still good to document progress because then you can always look at it later and it might be good progress, might be bad progress. And you can take a look at it and be like, this is where I looked like a month ago. And you're like, oh shit, I got fat. Or like, oh shit, hey, I look pretty good. I'd do me. So, having that little bit of documentation really, really helps you. I don't have my people keep training logs. I mean, like I'll have them, document everything in the app that we use so I can just make sure that they are being accountable for themselves. But I don't ever look and be like, oh, well, last week you did this exercise and this week you went down 3% in strength. Like, I don't give a shit about that. I don't even do that for my competitive powerlifters. That's not how we operate. Mm-hmm. So I'm a visual person. Apparently what I do is a little bit gay, looking at half-naked dudes.
Yeah.
But, just a little bit gay. Just a little bit.
It's only gay if you make eye contact.
Yep. My dad said that, so it must be true.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, that's one thing I stress with my clients is I don't really care about the scale. I tell them to take their progress photos, and they don't even have to send it to me if they're not comfortable. It's just keep track of your stuff. Keep an eye on it. So, if you're doing progress pictures, try to take it at the same time of day, same lighting, that kind of stuff. But I'd rather go off measurements. How do your clothes feel? How do you feel? How is your training feeling? I think that's much more sustainable one, and they don't get overwhelmed or get thrown off by a stupid number on a scale, to be honest.
Yeah, that scale, man, gets you every time. Because then people get so fixated on numbers. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Do you look good naked? Yeah, dope. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, if my scale weight went up by 5 pounds, but I gained 1.5 inches on my arms or my legs, I'd be like, that's pretty fucking cool. I'll take that. And then weight only matters if you're in weight classes. Like I know you guys with your clients, powerlifting and bodybuilding alike. I mean, sure, if you're in a weight class, we got to focus on it more likely towards the end of the, depending on where you're cutting the weight at. Usually it's after peaking, so on and so forth. They're coming back down. But, unless you're in a competitive sport or, where you have to have a weight, certain class that you're in, then by all means focus on it. But if you just want to be healthy and move better, who gives a shit?
Yeah, and I try and stay away from things that have weight caps just because it's an extra stress that, these people just don't need. Like unless we're doing it like at a professional level and just part of the deal, then, it's just something to account for. But yeah, for the most part, I try to be like, look, man, just be strong, or just look the best you possibly can, and then wherever you fall, that's just wherever you fall.
Yep.
Don't cap your level of success. Just be awesome.
Yeah, speaking of weight, I think I'm at a whopping 237 right now.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Yeah, I just want to be 250 one time. Just one time.
I was eating poorly, and I saw this, so I think we're on week 3 of being back on HRT, and that's all it is just HRT. Full transparency, it's actually less than what my prescription is for. So I'm doing my HRT for testosterone. I'm doing a third of what I'm prescribed for nandrolone decanate, which is, I'm just using it for my joints. And then my HRT clinic sent me these, what do they call them? Lozenges. They are these like zip melts for Anavar, and they're wild. I've never had anything like this before, and they're expensive. And I was like, man, this seems kind of like a waste of money. And the guy's trying to explain the science on how much more bioavailable it is and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, motherfucker, send them to me. And send me this gigantic bill. They're dope. They're so dope. they're dope. But I started seeing that the scale was going up, like at an alarming rate. And all of a sudden, the other day, I was like, dude, like I just feel a lot of pressure in my cheeks. I'm like, my face felt hard like a rock. And I had a nosebleed, like almost immediately after. I was like, dude, my face is hard. The scale said 280 pounds. It means I put on like 15 pounds in like a week and a half. And I was like, this is not muscle. And this is also not fat. Something's going on. So I just been so busy and so caught up with dealing with, the wife and the pregnancy, stuff like that, that I just have forgotten to prioritize water. So I was eating a bunch of high sodium food and barely drinking like a quarter of a gallon of water a day. So I was holding on to every ounce. And I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. So, because it wasn't an estrogen related thing, I didn't have any time to convert anything to estrogen. So I took some dandelion root, up the magnesium, took extra vitamin D, peed out like 8 gallons. And I was like, whoa, that was crazy. So now I'm stabilized somewhere around 274. So,
okay.
So not too shabby, but
Isn't that crazy with water, right?
Oh yeah,
With the water intake, right? Everyone thinks
I've just been chugging water as much as I can.
Yeah, right. And everyone thinks, right, if you just drink enough, like a gallon, whatever, blah 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 blah, you'll be fine. But like I just recently got this little thing, little copper water bottle action.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. But I mean, I'm drinking water, 1 to 2 gallons a day. And once I stay consistent with it, I also do my Celtic sea salt in my water. If it's a half gallon, I use a teaspoon. In this, I use a couple pinches. But when I started adding Celtic sea salt to the water and drinking, upwards of a gallon and a half, 2 gallons a day, I don't hold much water in like a crazy amount. I'm not bloated. I don't feel like crap. I actually feel better, more energy. And that I think I credit a lot of it to the Celtic sea salt in there. But yeah, I mean, it's just we don't drink enough water, and I love Dr. Pepper, so it's hard to say no. But it's
so I don't know. Maybe one time I drank Dr. Pepper before I met you. Now, in the rare occasion that we go out to dinner or something like that, and the waiter comes by, if they have Dr. Pepper, I get that every time now. Bring me Dr. Pepper. Oh, this is dope. Tell me I'm pretty.
Yeah, for those just listening, I have a sign that was a gift. It says, "Bring me a Dr. Pepper and tell me I'm pretty."
It's pretty legit. Dr. Pepper's got fun little merch, if you will.
I'm waiting to be sponsored by him. I think it'd be pretty cool,
Hey man, if I could get
Dr. Pepper, if you're listening,
Olipop on board, I would love to get me some Olipop. Shit's getting expensive.
So maybe we should have like a whatever you just called those, and Dr. Pepper battle for who they're going to sponsor on here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably win. My beard's better, so.
Whatever, Pepper Jack.
I mean, it's pretty good. It's growing out now, you know.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So, hold up. It got really dark in here.
You just noticing that?
All of a sudden, I was like, dude, you can't even see my beard. What the hell?
Oh, I saw it earlier. It looks good. It's glorious.
There we go. Yeah. So, if we're going to have a battle, we're going to talk about that on the next episode. But to wrap this one up, I have a continuation of a story that we talked about previously. So, to recap it, let me expedite it. I have a cousin who's a moron. I mean, I feel like I say that about a lot of my family. This one really takes the cake. One of those people that just lie about everything, but for no reason at all. Like it doesn't benefit anyone or anything. It just makes you look like a moron. Let me backtrack. So, I don't know. I'm 35 now, so she's got to be mid-40s, something like that. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, mid-40s. So, she constantly lied about everything from the time that she was a kid. From the island of Maui, like a good chunk of my family's from. Goes to school out here in California. Has everyone helping, everyone giving her money for all this, all that. It's like, oh, we're going to help you move to the dorms. But we're not allowed to put it in the dorms. We had to leave it on the corner here next to the dorm because she's going to have a friend come and help her move it. Which, we're not stupid. We know that you're not living in the dorms. You're pocketing this money and you're living somewhere else with other people. One, who the fuck cares? Two, again, makes you look like an idiot. There's no official dorm staff who's going to be your mover. Like that's not how this works. So this keeps going on and on. So then she allegedly graduates from college. That's still debatable. No one really knows if that really happened or not. But she sends out all these announcement letters saying that she graduated, top of her class with honors, and now she's a doctor. Okay. Which the time frame doesn't even add up. She didn't go to a medical school. It wasn't even an option where she went. And then the time frame just didn't add up. Proper medical school. What is 8, maybe 10 years? It's 8 years and then 10 years if you're a specialist. This motherfucker did this whole thing in like the matter of like 5, maybe 6 years. Again, bullshit. So then she works part-time at this restaurant. Some big fancy restaurant that's been there, some well-known chef, whatever. And she was a hostess. She went there for like 3 weeks. And then we think she just got fired for being an idiot. But she could have quit. Who knows? So my grandmother and some of our other family go with her. And so she has the book written by the owner, the chef, and she wrote in there saying that, she calls herself Melissa. Her name is Melissa. She goes, Melissa's been such, a key to our success and all this stuff. This restaurant's been there for years. And this lady's been there for 3 weeks, and in her 3 weeks, she's made this tremendous turnaround, and they have new clientele and all this fame and success due to this fat chick from Hawaii. No, get the fuck out of here. So, skip forward again, because there's just, dude, you could literally write an entire soap opera just one day at a time from this girl's life of lies, and you'd never run out of content. So she gets married. She marries this guy, Richard. I like Richard. Super, super nice guy. Apparently, the most gullible person you've ever met. I say that now, but I'm going to correct myself later in the story and change that. He just thinks that she's the greatest thing ever. believes everything she says, and just she's angel to him. He's a correctional officer. Actually, that's not true. He was a probation officer. I don't know what he does now. It's still something with law enforcement. But after I tell you this story, you're going to really, really second guess their interviewing process for hiring people for this department. So they get married. They're doing their thing, whatever it is that she's doing for work, blah, blah, blah. This is maybe six-ish, well, let's see, 7 maybe 6-7 years ago now. Maybe pushing 8, 7 or 8. Anyway, so allegedly, she gets offered this top secret government job. And it's so top secret that she's not allowed to bring her cell phone with her, but she can bring her dog. Now, I have friends that have very, very high clearance levels above top secret. And I can tell you, I know this for a fact, that that's the dumbest shit. So she tells Richard that, I shit you not, this is the story that was relayed to us from the beginning. She gets offered this top secret government job. She cannot bring her phone with her. She can bring her dog. She will not get paid a penny for this top secret government job until she completes 10 years. If she quits one day before that term, she won't get any money. So she has to commit to this 10-year thing with no money. So Richard has to give her money, give her an allowance and stuff like that. But he can't go and see her. But she will come back and see him, whenever the government allows her to. That sounds so crazy, right? So that's where we left this story last time. Now, there's part 2 to this. We find out, because, after a while you just get curious because the lies are so ridiculous. You're like, what's going on in Melissa's world? So I call my grandmother and I ask her, I said, hey, what's going on with Melissa? My grandmother talks to the husband, Richard, consistently. Well, let me rephrase that. He calls her. And she always gets weird about it. She's like, he calls me all the time just to talk about stupid shit that I don't care about. So, but he tells her like everything's going like, oh, Melissa this and Melissa that. And so the story is that he needs to pay her all this money so she can do all this other stuff. And so her family has quite a bit of acreage on the island of Maui. And so part of the trust in that family is that they are dividing the ownership of the property. Now, the people that are in that trust, that are splitting the property and everything like that, are still alive. We talked to them. We already know the real side of this story. It's already been notarized. It's already done. Was, I think with lawyers and whatnot, was maybe $1,500 to get everything done. It was cheap. It wasn't much money at all. Melissa's telling her husband that she, aka them, need to pony up an additional $40,000, and it's going to get pushed out an extra year and a half before the paperwork is even done. So when the property goes to actually sell and whatnot, they won't be able to do this for years. What? Okay, you're just scamming this guy for his money.
Yep.
So I ask, does he really believe this? Because, seeing it from an outside perspective, we can clearly see that this whole thing is just bologna sandwich. And I'm like, well, maybe he's too close. Maybe he's just got, like that blurred vision because he's too close. She goes, no, he 100% believes that she is truly on some top secret government mission, and she's not allowed to tell him, and that he has to keep giving her money with their joint account and all sorts of stuff. And I said, he can't be that gullible. So then I get interrupted. And they're like, he is that gullible because his mother's that gullible. I said, explain. Apparently, Richard's biological dad wasn't married to the mom, and that when the biological dad passed away, Richard's mother was the recipient of his financial wealth, which was up there. I think they said that it was a little bit over like $5 or $5.5 million.
Whoa.
So the mom gets all this money. I forgot, Richard's late 40s, something like that now. So the mom is late 60s, 70s, something like that. So the mom starts dating this like a mailman or something like that. I don't even know how you can do this. So she gets all this money, and then she falls in love with this mailman, and she just starts buying him stuff. In under a year, she blew through $5 million. And somehow signed her house over and everything. Literally just gave this guy everything that she had. The $5 million, the house, everything. And my brain is just racing. I'm like, how do you blow $5 million? Like, how do you just not pay attention to, oh, this guy that I just met asked me to sign my house over and all this stuff. So like, you got nothing, just gone. It's all gone. So I hear this, and I'm just thinking that this is the craziest thing. I'm like, what? Were you dropped on your head? How are you this gullible? And for just nothing. Fast forward to the craziest shit of this story. So this has been going on for like 7-8 years, that Melissa has this top secret government job. She can't bring her phone. She can bring her dog, and comes home maybe on a, good for Richard. She comes back for just a handful of days a month. And sometimes she disappears for months on end. So we just found this out. No one's seen or spoken to Melissa directly in years because she's a fucking whack job. We just found this out like 2 weeks ago, and we cannot wrap our heads around this. Melissa has a 4-year-old child.
Whoa. Okay.
So I call my grandmother. I'm like, hold up. My mother just called me. Melissa has a 4-year-old child. And I'm FaceTiming my grandmother, and I've never seen anyone roll their eyes so aggressively other than like a 12-year-old girl in a mall in the 90s. She was just like, this motherfucker. I'm like, what does Richard think? Like, has he seen the kid? Yeah. Does he not understand? Like, does he know that that's her kid? Like, how do you explain that? Like, all of a sudden, like, she just kept getting fatter and fatter, and then all of a sudden, then she's walking around with a baby. He just said that she got fat and that went on a diet and started losing the weight. I'm like, what does he think about the kid? She's bringing the kid with him, like, and the kid's 4. When is the kid going to start mouthing off and saying like, oh, you're not my real dad? How do you hide a pregnancy? How do you hide having a child for that many years? I gotta know. I would love for him to talk with a professional psychiatrist and be like, what is going through your head? How are you okay with this? What do you truly believe? What is the fantasy that's in your head of you're like, hey, I bagged myself a good woman. Like, she's trash.
Yeah, that's insane, dude. That's a wild adventure of a story there.
So my grandmother moved, and so I was having dinner with her, and we were driving over to the restaurants. We're hanging out, and I'm asking her the same thing that I'm telling you. And I'm like, how do you go through that? How do you not ask the questions? I'm like, what is the next step? And that's what I asked her. I said, what is the next step? How long can she try and keep this lie going for? And so she said what are we at? Today's the 15th. So this is less than 2 weeks ago that I heard this, is that now with Trump in office and they're shutting down different departments, that department is going to lose its funding, and it doesn't look like they're going to get their contract paid. And so she did all that work for no money. And I sat there because I didn't know what else to say. This lady truly thinks that she can just, make a lateral movement from one lie to the next, and it's never going to catch her.
Oh man, that's crazy.
And so then, I'm sitting there I'm flabbergasted by the whole thing, obviously. So let's say she goes through this whole thing. Oh, my department closed. Oh, there's no money. I did all this work, this top secret government work that I can't talk about with no money. What's her next move? And also,
I don't know,
where is she really living? And who's she living with? Who's the dad?
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like she's got a person providing her with funds, and she's living her life with someone else.
Honestly, at the rate that she's going, it sounds like she's got two of them. She got the real baby daddy, and she got this sugar daddy just throwing money at her. Oh, my God.
Oh, man. How do you not just say, I'm out, done with this shit?
I know. Yeah. No, I've been, oh, man. Since I heard all of this the other day, I've been just waiting to tell you since we said we were going to do the show again. I was like, oh, my God, I got to tell him.
I mean, that's definitely a good story for the first podcast back. I mean, way to open it up for sure.
Yeah, I don't. It's so crazy. You're like, well, hey man, people are wild.
Yeah, I mean, what does Richard think about all of it? He's just good. He's like, oh, well, yeah, whatever.
He's
No
good.
big deal.
He's good. Yeah.
Oh man.
I know. Crazy. Well, on that wild note, we'll end this episode and then we'll bring back the fun stuff later.
Oh yeah.
All right, amigo. Until next time.
Adios.